Hey there yogis, I'm Nicole. Welcome back to my yoga time. Thanks for joining me today. Today I have a deeply restorative yin practice for you, especially therapeutic if you're really tight, holding a lot of tension in the hips, including hip flexors, piriformis muscle, outer hips, lower back, and also as psoas muscle. So the psoas muscle sits in behind the bow, connecting the legs to the spine. Very important muscle. And there's also fascial connection there to the diaphragm. So the psoas muscle for many of us can quite easily become shortened and contracted. That can be either due to toxicity because it's sitting in behind the bow. It can be due to our lifestyle for sitting for too long periods of time, whether that be in the car, at your desk, whatever that may be. So the psoas muscle doesn't necessarily hold emotions, but it's the first muscle to respond when we move into our fight or flight mode. I know there's been a lot of talk around the psoas muscle over recent years with yoga teachers, yoga therapists, body workers, and it is considered to be a muscle that can hold a lot of trauma. I'll leave that with you to contemplate. And it's also intimately connected to the diaphragm through our fascia. Our diaphragm, the primary breathing muscle. So the two are interrelated. The way that we feel is reflected in the way that we breathe. Tight psoas can restrict our breathing, meaning our breath is more shallow. So today's class, we're going to look to release tension in those key muscles. I'm asking you to be very mindful of your breath. To be mindful means to be present. So I will constantly remind you to feel the breath moving the body and look to deepen the breath all the way down into the belly for that diaphragmatic breathing if you can. So for today's practice, I do have a yoga bolster. Now, if you don't have a yoga bolster, you can still do this class. Just get yourself maybe 2 or 3 pillows stacked on top of one another or a really big blanket and roll it up nice and tight. When you're ready, let's begin. We're going to start straight away, targeting those outer hips, piriformis muscle. Pigeon pose is our first one. Got 2 choices, yogis. Any concerns with your knees or hips, you'll take a recline pigeon. So left ankle to the right knee. You might choose to rest your right foot on your prop, or you can take a hold of that right leg only if that's comfortable to do so. If you're tight through the head and shoulders and you're lifting up through the upper body, then by all means take this variation instead. Otherwise, for your seated pigeon, we will take our left knee behind the left wrist, lengthen the right leg behind you, lower down. When you're ready, of course, you can use the bolster if you like to fold down to the bolster. I'm just going to make a pillow with my hands, whatever is comfortable for you. Let's bring our awareness to our breath as we arrive in our practice. Gently placing the very tip of your tongue where the teeth meet the roof of the mouth. And we'll do our best to keep the tongue in this position for the entire class. So there's a little tone in the back of the throat, but the jaw is relaxed. And let's be ever so mindful of the 4 parts to our breath. The inhalation and pause, the exhalation and pause. If you are in a seated pigeon, follow your next inhalation out of the pose. If you are reclined, you can stay reclined and just change sides. Yogis who are seated might like a brief counter stretch through the back of that left knee. Whenever you're ready to move on, taking the right knee to the right wrist, folding forward, or if you're reclined, taking the right ankle to the left knee. As soon as you arrive in the pose, check the position of your tongue, the softness in the jaw, and see if you can slow the breath down by just sipping the inhalation, drawing out those breath retentions, maybe hold for an extra count. And then exhaling very slowly. And let's release the pose. So those yogis who are reclined, make your way up to tabletop. Those in their seated pigeon, quick counter stretch, right leg. So when we lengthen one side of the body, the other side automatically shortens or contracts. And that's the same whether you're doing a restorative yin practice or a dynamic class. Let's recruit our props now, bring it over to the mat. So our pigeon pose, we were lengthening the piriformis muscle, and at the same time we're actually shortening that psoas muscle. So now we're going to work the opposite. We're going to look to gently just lengthen the psoas just a touch. It's only subtle. So we're going to fold down over the bolster, blankets or pillows, whatever it is that you have. Bring your belly button to the prop and then take your left knee out to the side. So my hip bone is suspended. Now you can either turn your head left or right, whichever is more comfortable for the neck, and there's no right or wrong with the hands. If you'd like to make a pillow, do so. Feel the navel press against the prop as you inhale. The breath is gently rocking the body against the bolster. Let's change sides, yogis. Left leg in, right knee out. Lower down when you're ready. You may even begin to feel a pulsing sensation through the navel. Be with your breath, moving the body. And let's gently lift on up, yogis. Moving into a prone twist now, sitting with your right hip touching your bolster or your blankets. Comfortably bending the legs. There's no right or wrong really, as long as it's comfortable. Hands are either side of the prop. Lengthen the spine as much as you can before you bring the navel down. Again, head can turn left or right depending on your neck. And using the presence of the bolster to prompt your belly breath, your diaphragmatic breathing. Remember the 4 parts to your breath. And let's inhale to lift up, changing sides. You can either come to your knees and change sides straight away, or you might like a brief downward facing dog. Before picking up the heels, pivoting the feet, and changing sides. Inhale to lengthen the spine, and exhale to lay yourself down. Once again, feeling the breath rock the body against the bolster. Deepening your breath to deepen the twist. And let's lift on up, yogis. Just rolling your prop to the side. We're going to come down onto your back next. And moving into a supported bridge pose on your prop. So knees bending, lifting up those hips and bringing your prop in underneath you. Of course, if you have a yoga block and you'd rather use that, that's totally fine as well. Now feel free to stay here for just a few breaths. Noticing the navel rising beneath the hands. A moment to pause before you exhale slowly. Let's take a hold of your left knee. And then if you can, just move your right foot over to the left and then allow that knee to fall out to the side as though it's in a butterfly pose. Breathe down into the lower body. Let's just lift that right knee a little and then straighten and relax the leg for the last few breaths here. And let's start to bend that right leg now, lifting both feet up towards the ceiling. You might like to hold it there or draw the feet a little closer towards the hedge. Then we'll inhale the legs out nice and wide. As you exhale, cross the right leg in front of the left leg, bend the knees, take a hold of the knees, or maybe you can reach the feet or the outer ankles. Now, if this isn't an option for you due to knee or hip injuries, you can always take your reclined pigeon and open out that knee once again. But we're only going to be here for a short time, not quite a yin pose. And let's release, unravel those legs. Take a hold of your right leg, lower left foot to the floor. Allow the knee to fall out to the side. Move the foot a little further to the right. Feel free to straighten and relax the left leg. And let's release, both feet up towards the ceiling. And when you're ready, inhaling nice and wide. This time as you exhale, left leg is on top of the right. Either reclined pigeon or reclined gomukhasana, cow face. Holding knees, ankles or feet. And let's release. Lower both feet down to the floor. One last stretch here. You can straighten both legs, reach through the fingers. And then bend the knees when you're ready. Let's lift up those hips and the heels. Remove your prop. Keep those heels high as you lower down, one vertebrae at a time. When you touch down, take the hands to the knees, press the hands into the knees and pull the knees back into the hands. Imprint your lower back on the mat. So it's just a brief little bit of core here. Help the lower back reset. Hips and pelvis as well. Let's take hands to the inner knees. Hands are pushing out, knees are pressing in. Create a little bit of resistance. Hands moving to the outer knees now, same deal. Hands press in, knees press out. And let's relax, hug it into the chest. If you need longer there, yogis, please take it. Otherwise, we're going to take our prop over to the right side so that it can support the left leg in our twist to come. Take a hold of your left knee, straighten and relax the right leg. Let's take left leg over to your prop. So taking a few breaths here in this twist. Again, breathing down into the lower body. Option 1, feel free to stay in this twist. Option 2, we'll bring in a little quad stretch, a little back bend as well. So if you're taking that position, just move your right leg back a little, bend the knee and collect the foot. If you need to lighten this, you can roll more onto your side. Otherwise, keeping the collarbones facing the ceiling, enjoying that nice twist in the back bend. Inhale. And as you exhale, release the foot. Let's return to your back. Taking your prop over to the other side. Draw the right knee in. Let's twist. Please feel free to stay here if that's more comfortable for you. Otherwise, left leg moves back a little. Knee bends, reach for the foot. Or of course, you can always use a strap if you can't reach the foot. Be with the 4 parts of your breath. One last inhalation. And as you exhale, release the foot if you have it, return to your back. Well done, yogis. Let's move into Shavasana now, and do use your prop underneath your legs. It's very soothing for the back. Just allowing those legs to fall heavy, shoulders tucking under. You might even like to connect index finger and thumbs and take Chin Mudra. Eyes closing down. Forehead softening. Tongue and jaw relaxed. Let's inhale a little deeper now. Feeling the breath touch the nostrils. Feel free to swallow if the mouth is dry, or begin to wiggle toes and fingers, following any urges to move or stretch as they arise. Feel free to roll onto your preferred side when you're ready. Take as long as you like in that fetal position, only coming to seated when you're ready to return to your day. Thanks for practicing with me today, yogis. I hope that you enjoyed that class. Please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Not just my channel, but any teacher you watch on a regular basis. It's the best way to support free yoga on YouTube. Wishing you a lovely day.